Welcome to the Patriot Hour. We're back. Scott in the studio. Going to get into the second part of the T.P.H, the Patriot Hour, folks. Stick around. We'll get right into it. All right, we're back. We're in the studio. Scott's still here.
Still good morning. I think it's pushing afternoon now. Yep, it's afternoon.
All right, so we are going to do the second part. We got some notes down, things we wanted to go over. Again, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Maybe ring the bell. You have to subscribe first, then the bell appears, I think.
And yeah, we had one guy say, well, there's still no bell, but...
yeah.
So we're going to talk a little bit about CIA, waterboarding, McCain. I think it all just kind of rolls together. The last episode we ended on, I guess, like a minority conversation, and here you have a CIA director being a woman that is now under scrutiny for supposedly, and she probably has, been okay with or supportive waterboarding. And that seems to drive a few people crazy.
Yeah.
I don't understand why. I understand why it scares people. I guess I understand why McCain might be against it. But the conversation that I would have with anybody is, if torture, by no shape am I for it if it's unlike the law. Like if they have a warrant to invade my home, then they already have probable cause, right? Yeah. It's not like they just kicked my door in and said, hey, we're here to see if you're up, to anything. So if they have probable cause, and if some sort of torture, including waterboarding, can save American lives or lives in general, could you imagine if they tortured somebody and got the information on 9/11 before it happened? And that's how I would open any kind of debate. If it can save lives, is it or is it not okay? Is it always okay, or is it always bad, or is there a middle ground? I don't know. I'm going to really look forward to looking at some of these comments. But
No, I agree. I know as of right now, I don't know about all, I'm pretty sure most of them, but like for SEALs in the Navy, and then if you are a group surrounded by them, you end up going to SEER school or something, which is search, evade, escape, resist. You're going to go through waterboarding. I mean, I know all the SEALs, so I'm going to imagine most other branches, special forces groups that are engaging with these areas of where they can be captured. Mm-hmm. They're putting them through waterboarding so they're not, so they know what to expect.
Yeah, so they're not scared.
The more you do it, the more, so yeah, I don't know if they're, they're going through it for training.
Yeah.
So, we did have a SEAL, I watched it yesterday, in support of continuing to waterboard. He did it live on his show for 20, 30 minutes. He had another former SEAL buddy of his doing it. They was outside in his backyard, propped on a table. They did it all pretty much, correct. And before they did it, they had another expert come through and approve the methods they were doing to be like, yeah, this is how we do it. That guy wasn't on the camera, so it was pretty official. You could watch this.
He subjected himself to it?
He subjected himself to it. He's done it before. He's done it multiple times. So, yeah, on this show, he did it to show, hey, I'm doing it. But not that's, hey, everyone's going to have their feelings on that. I don't know exactly. McCain's, been against it since the Bush era, opposed it, was always against. Are they talking about not doing it to these terrorists anymore? It's just too inhumane, and then stripping it away from our service members to not have to go through it as well. Mm-hmm. And then now if they do get captured, are they going to be subdued to it elsewhere? Or, are you going to be able to stop it over there, McCain, and everywhere else? That is possibly, or are we the only ones doing it? I don't know all these, but
I don't think we will.
I don't know if it matters. Like you said, this is a tool that they, not typical. See, these people that are against it, they don't know much about it, the workings, how it's been around, what benefits have come out of it. They were just hearing now that Trump's in support of it, so I'm going to be against it.
Right.
That's what I think is really going on.
While they lay in bed at night, safe with their money in their bank and going to their job every day, driving their nice car and texting back and forth. They don't realize, and I don't either. I'm not sitting here
all
saying
the privileges that we.
There are people out there doing things, and what those things are, I don't know. I don't know that everybody should know. But there's some, the one movie that you just told, I asked you, I couldn't remember the name of it, but You Need Me on that wall. A Few Good Men, I think it was.
Yes. You want the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
Yes.
And the truth is, we are somewhat safe for a reason, So, again, I would always go back to, if you want to say it's inhumane, isn't bringing down 2 big buildings and killing thousands of people and destroying lives inhumane? I'm telling you right now, if you can say waterboarding is bad, and I wouldn't even want anybody being waterboarded to prevent that, then I ain't probably done debating or talking with you, because that is just asinine. If we would have known, if we could have prevented 9/11, we would have. But I guess that's the ultimate question. If torture would have prevented 9/11, what's your what's your take on that?
Well, as a 100% factual on this, folks, I was aboard the USS George Washington in '98. I mean, I was on that ship for 5 years, dang near. But we do know, okay, so preventing of 9/11, they were dead set that it was Obama that masterminded, I think.
Bin Laden.
Bin Laden, I meant. What did I say?
Obama.
My bad. OBL is what I meant to say. Osama Bin Laden. So they were 100% that he did it. So under the Clinton administration, with bad intel, he launched some ships off of, ordered my ship. I knew about this, but they were loading it up, live missiles, launched a few, dropped some bombs, and it ended up being like we found out, school, hospital, children, women, men, whatever.
Yeah.
Lots of civilians died. Didn't hit too much. It did a little bit, trickled out, but Columbine happened that day as well. So
quick cover up.
It was covered to the fullest because that's all that aired on the TVs for the next month was Columbine, these kids. Yeah. Horrible, tragic thing.
The report was Bin Laden and his top generals were in the building next door.
Yes.
And they
So how about that? So if you're not waterboarding, you're kind of preemptive strikes at, bad intel, and look what happens, and they've swept that under the rug. And
so that's okay. Right?
Yeah, that's all right.
What's the old saying? Casualty is, it is war. I'm not saying just start grabbing Joe Blow off the street and waterboarding him or shoving needles under his fingers or whatever, but
when that waterboarding, it just gives you the feeling of death. You're not going to die, but in your mind starts thinking you can't breathe, that you do, and you know how it gets to go under a pool and get water that comes through them cavities, and you're like, oh, and you sit there for, that's the constant feeling you have, and you're just got that water and you're burning in your face, and but I would imagine after a couple hours, you're just done and out of it.
So I'm excited for the comments, but we're on this conversation because we have a woman that was put in position to be the first woman CIA
and
director.
She's been around. What was she literally worked her way, they said, like applied for the job, was a really low rank, and then boom, 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 all the what?
She
20?
has all the qualifications to be, and here he is appointing another woman to a position, a first-time woman in a position. And you would think there'd be some women out there or the left side saying, all right, we got to,
Yeah, it's like, no, we had her. He's not for women because he ran against one and he
was
he beat her.
Misogynist.
Misogynist, said all these bad things. So now they're, now he's, we're not opposed. I'm not opposed to a woman running this country. I know we're more than ready for it. They're more than qualified. The right one, just one that's not alive. Like this lady, maybe she ends up being, the head of the CIA, and
give me Condoleezza Rice any day.
Years down the road, she ends up running, and that's just another qualification for her to be president, and maybe she doesn't lie a lot and have email scandals and things, and she'd be the right one. That's what it boils down to, being the right one.
If any president prior to Trump nominated a woman to be the head of CIA, do you think it would have been this bad, or are we right back to anything he does, they're going to discredit? And unfortunately for her, she found herself in a position, I bet she thought about it too. If I accept his nomination, boy, I'm probably going to come under attack.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't think she's seen this coming. Here I am, a woman, he's put me in charge. You would think people would get behind that, but they found something, just like when Palin ran with McCain.
And then would they find on her that she supports the waterboarding, basically?
Yeah. I think it was the House and Means or whatever, the committee.
I remember hearing something out of it. Like
she didn't say yes and she didn't say no. She handled it just like a politician would. And she said, under the right circumstances, I don't rule out anything because, we're trying to save lives.
Yeah.
And again, I support the hell out of that.
There's a Geneva Convention thing that, we're all part of. I don't know if this waterboarding is an approved method in that. Or I don't know what the laws are, but there are laws to war, as funny as it sounds, like a street fight. There is no rules in a street fight. Well, in war, even though you're at battle and doing all this.
Three-sided bayonet can't be stitched up, so they banned it.
There's rules, right? Yeah. There's rules to all these prisoners of war. So
what's the old saying my family members and buddies have said? You probably heard it. The Geneva card is good for two things: wiping your butt and starting a campfire.
Yes.
Because when you're in war, nobody says, oh, wait a minute. Stop.
Yeah.
I can't kill you in this fashion, so give me a second. Let me put my three-sided bayonet that way. That doesn't happen.
Yes.
So,
no, exactly.
But you got politicians trying to control wars, and that's probably why our wars are either unwinnable, or we don't have exit strategies, or it costs so much damn money, and we're always, we can't get up because, and this is why I love the administration we have now. We have Mad Dog. And if we're going to do this, we're going to go in there, we're going to kick butt, and we're going to get home. Anytime there's going to be a military strike.
Exactly.
War should not be business.
No.
So, anyway, we got a woman CIA director. She's being opposed by quite a few. And on this show, we try not to be too biased. I know we get a little carried away, or I get carried away anyway, and some of the comments come back, well, I thought this was, Patriot Hour, Constitutionalist. So, we're spending a little bit of time saying why we're upset with McCain. Here he is bad-mouthing Trump, and he called Trump supporters, the ultimate sin, just like Hillary called us all deplorables. McCain says they're crazies. 15,000 Trump supporters were crazies. And now he's going against his party. And it kind of makes me wonder why. Okay, he has some time as a prisoner. I don't know how I feel about all that, but McCain, being a Republican, is in a good position to support his president, support some of these agendas. Why was he the one that stood up, and now he's on TV, and why he's taking the light? You wouldn't think that would be the case. So there's something else going on, and that might tie in with the terrorist situation. You showed me a picture a while back. I think Q and everybody's seen it. There were 5 terrorists in a room with McCain.
Yeah. And
supposedly those are the same 5 terrorists that we just captured.
Yeah, so they're singing and talking. They're worried. Yeah, no, you're right. McCain, back in the limelight. I found it funny at the election process shortly before he endorsed Hillary. I was like, what the? And
what's he doing?
It's just baffling. Again, he brought up, I'm pretty sure he brought up Trump wasn't allowed at his funeral. I don't know if that's a lie. I've seen enough of it that I take it to be, I haven't researched it a whole bunch, but he brought up that, and then there was a comment made that, what's the matter with he thinks he's dying anyway. We want an apology. Well, he's allowed to bring up, he's not allowed at my funeral because we, and then if Trump was asked back, well, when is that? So I could put it in my, they would bash him. Trump, mocks McCain for asking for when that's going to be so he can maybe schedule around it or so he doesn't show up. It's a joke, but if you're bringing up your death date and who's not invited, that's pretty narcissistic anyway.
Well, it's kind of petty, too. What are we, grade schoolers?
That's what I'm saying.
So here's Susan Saunders saying, if you support women and not new CIA director, you're a hypocrite.
Yeah. We're at that point. We know this, folks. We're seeing it. I'm seeing it. No matter what Trump does, it's not right. It's that old adage of even the supporters of the left and the right, if the left would say something, yeah, and if the same thing was said by the guy that you didn't like, no, it's no good for nobody. But it's like, we've seen it,
If he balanced the budget and got us out of debt,
that's right? Not good. We needed to be in debt.
I'm curious. It goes back to the old joke, if he got caught walking on water, they'd say, well, he can't swim.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
well, again, he does not swim.
The discredit game is alive and well still. It ain't going anywhere. So waterboarding and torture, get us some feedback. I'd like to read some comments. And if you oppose it or for it, just try to give us 3 or 4 sentences. Just don't say we're for it or we're against it.
I don't think we torture after we catch somebody that we know is guilty for a crime. They're on the most wanted list, whether it's a terrorist or whatever, and after we capture them and we already have this evidence that they are guilty of that, they don't just start torturing to torture. The torture means the waterboarding is ones that we think have bigger information.
Yeah.
They're trying to work. I don't know what other methods they would have, and if everyone's like, no, we got to be done with that. If that's your stance, what do you suggest would be the alternative?
Sit down, have a cup of tea, and ask them.
Give them cigarette after cigarette, and well, give me a pizza, and then I'll tell you something. And you give them the pizza, and then they don't tell you nothing, or they give you bull crap. I don't know. What would be your feedback on that, folks? Drop it in the comments. Let us know.
Yeah.
If you're opposed, what is your alternative solution, or what would be your next move?
Yeah. Ultimately, if you can prevent a nasty situation, if you're not for torture, how else are you going to fix it?
They're seeking an apology to McCain's daughter. She's on that show. What is it?
I don't know.
Whoopi. She's The View.
Oh, boy.
She's the blonde that's on there.
Get out of here.
That's McCain's daughter. Yeah. So she's one that sits up there with all them. Kind of. I think she's Republican. I believe, or conservative. Because she kind of opposes them. I think that's why they even have her on. I don't know. I haven't watched enough, but I'm assuming she would be
fair and balanced, like the Five do on Fox. They got what's his name, Juan.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Well, I can appreciate that if they're going to at least.
I think that's what. You let me know again, folks, if I'm wrong. So this is again some opinion from what I've seen. I know that's his daughter. She's seeking for the apology, by the way. So. And the White House wouldn't give one.
What kind of apology is she seeking?
I'm going to pull it up, but I think just an article.
There was an aide in the White House that had something dirty to say about McCain. Something along the lines of him being a war hero or whatnot. I didn't want to get sucked into it. I don't know how to call him a war hero or just a hero or a vet or a POW. Do you call a POW a hero? He obviously did more for this country from the military standpoint than I have. I thank him for that, but just because you were once a hero or once this doesn't mean that you can't make mistakes and get criticized now. I mean, you're still in the limelight. You put yourself there. I appreciate your service, but that doesn't
negate anything more you've done.
So I'm not allowed to say anything.
50 years later,
I can't disagree with you because you're a hero or a vet. You and you're a vet.
Nothing to do with that, right? Nothing like this is beside that. I get it.
I don't want to be on pins and needles if I ever disagree with you. I couldn't. That'd be like you saying, Scott. What
no, you were in the service. So you're always right.
You can't disagree with me, man. I'm a vet. Well,
if I'm not disagreeing that you're a vet or that you're service or know. But yeah, Meghan McCain says she'll be still awaiting a public apology. 19 hours. White House official phones John McCain's daughter. So maybe they did.
She's looking for the apology from the White House aide who joked about her father's brain cancer.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
that's a little different.
Yeah. I knew it was.
Well, I don't know about if he even brought that up. I think he just said, wasn't he dying? Or I can't remember what was exactly. Wow. Ads and popping.
Somebody asked me the other day, and they voted against McCain and Palin, and they tried to use it against me. Now they're supporting McCain, and I said, the only reason you're supporting him now is because he's actually speaking against the guy that you are always on Facebook bashing. If he wasn't, you wouldn't be supporting McCain right now, because just a few years ago, you voted against McCain and Palin because they were unfit, right? So if they were unfit to run, then I would say they're unfit to having an opinion about the president. So you can't have your cake and eat it too. But again, the hypocrisy is if McCain never spoke up against waterboarding and never called Trump supporters crazy, nobody would be supporting McCain from the left. But it's just like, oh, now you got a snake in your own house. We're gonna support him. It's garbage.
It's like we said, these people are uncredible. Like, people didn't like McCain in '08. They didn't look into his background. Keep in mind, he's a vet, POW, hero.
Yeah. They discredited him then.
And discredit him all the way up until he doesn't. I don't know if he really supports, because McCain said a lot of bad things about Obama. McCain said a lot of bad things about Hillary. But then he endorses Hillary. We saw Michelle Obama say bad things about Hillary. She can't run her own house. She can't run the White House.
Right.
They support her years later. All that's 4 or 5 years ago. She's cleaned up her house and she knows how to run it now. But she.
And again, so people, they're allowing.
Once they align, like, my agenda's over here. Oh, McCain's all of a sudden aligning with my agenda. I hate Trump. He hates Trump. I like the guy.
Right. They're allowing their people to change. Well, Scott, they can change. Okay, well, then don't talk to me about a porn star from 14 years ago. Maybe Trump has changed. Maybe he had an epiphany. Maybe he
Everyone's allowed to change overnight, it seems like.
Well, no, not Trump. Trump can't change. I'm an expert in psychology, and I'm telling you, Trump didn't change. But I'm telling you, Hillary and Obama and McCain, all of them changed, Scott. But Trump has not changed yet. I sit down and I have dinner with him all the time.
Even if Trump paid that lady himself out of his own wallet, and even if it was right before the election, and they're trying to say this is election fund stuff, and you have to divulge all this stuff, and I'm just saying, even if he went into his wallet a month or two before the elections to pay off somebody from '06 or '04 or whatever to keep quiet, nothing to do with what's going on here. That's just trying to keep somebody quiet so it doesn't mar or mess with your election. That's not something everyone needs to know. And it's not like we needed to know that.
Is that a crime on Stormy's end? If she blackmailed him? Why aren't we looking at it from the other
I thought
angle?
You're not allowed to take things and blackmail people either.
Give me $130,000.
I just read a case of that. Like, some guy met a chick off of Craigslist or locally here. Like, met a person, started a relationship. After a month or a couple of dates, she did some research, found out that it was a fake name he gave her, and that this guy had a Facebook. He was married, had a wife and kid, and then he started hitting her up. I don't know which way it was going, but it was about money or something.
False pretenses.
But he was trying to get money out of her to I can't remember, to either leave her alone or something. And then she took that, and boom, they arrested this guy over wanting money for what?
They call that
what
blackmail.
You did, blackmail or so.
I'm curious of why
nobody talks
the news
about
hasn't talked about. Well, if Trump did pay her to shut her mouth, I'm sure there's lots of different ways he could have made sure she got the money. But if she said, "Give me $130,000," I mean, where did the number $130,000 come from anyway?
That's a weird.
So if she said, I need to pay my house off or what, $130,000, or I'm going to take my story public.
So then she did get her money.
Isn't that blackmail? But nobody's talking about it. So.
No. And then she did get the money.
I don't care.
And she didn't. She still talked. Yeah. So what the heck? That was a lie too. Her answer, in trouble for lying.
Right, but she actually was quoted saying, and she said it multiple times, he didn't assault me. It was consensual. So, okay, end of story. Can we please move past all this?
But even at that point, she's the committed liar. So he's like, well, how did this whole come about? Well, there was a payment. I wanted money. Okay, so all these times these people have been on CNN. That one guy, they said like 390 times in 90 days. I mean, he's literally working at CNN now, her lawyer. Weird. Every day he's on there. And, is anyone questioning, like, so how did this all come about? Well, my client, he was running and, wanted to get money out of them.
Yeah.
How does, and then, so you guys did get the money. Yep. And then we noticed somebody never signed something. And we thought, man, we can come forward anyway. I mean, you guys are the liars. You came to him, wanted something, you got something, and now you're still here. You all that, but yet, you're a credible witness, and we're going to just put you up on a pedestal. And
who won the most?
Does it matter?
Who won the most in this situation? Stormy Daniels.
Yeah.
She was irrelevant, getting older. She was in her
career's over,
a bad industry,
career's done.
She's doing pretty well financially now. She's getting paid a good amount of money to get on Saturday Night Live, do these interviews. I hear there's scuttlebutt about Hustler. Woody Harrelson played the movie. the publisher of Hustler wanted to give her some money to pose again, and I'm like, well, she's a little older. Man, they'll just airbrush it anyway. But she is laughing all the way to the bank right now. Meantime, all the politicians are scurrying around, and she's just chuckling away like, you fools. So regardless, she's been paid.
Yeah, I don't quite understand. I would be so much more willing to listen to everyone around me, the news. We had a clear crime, folks, before the election, under Obama, the last administration. There was the story of a decade, the story of a century, the email scandals, records taken out, destroyed with hammers, bleached bit, all that. Ignored, and then we go on to this Russia collusion thing that's going on 18, 17 months. It just came out. Things are ending, found nothing. Non-biased committees supposedly made up of Democrats and Republicans, findings. Yeah. You guys want everyone to get hyped up over something that's not really there when there was something there, and you unhype that to where nobody was interested. I'm baffled and confused and...
FISA warrants were signed by judges that were appointed. Investigators are appointed. They all surround the same people that should be investigated. So I know we're still supposed to be patient. Somebody better go to jail over all this. But you're absolutely right. It's as soon as something happens, they'll hurry up and try to cover it up and get something. And Trump's sitting there saying, "Whoa, we need to keep talking about, we need to get to the bottom of this."
This is the biggest thing, down to a porn star, a payment, a lawyer gets his door kicked in. Now they're talking about him being like getting paid by Russian oligarchs or whatever. God, yeah. I don't know what's going on there, but
so their platform right now, and we talked about it and joked about it the other day. So the Democrats' platform right now, if they had to run for the election today, would be two things: impeachment and porn stars.
Yeah.
Nothing else is relevant. They're not doing it. Oh, and they're standing on the House floor. You're president, and I'm offended, and I resent making America great again. I don't see their platform, and if the Democratic Party, I wish one of them would get on stage, or the DNC would do something about this and put a face out there and start talking about what it is, what they oppose, and not only what do they oppose, but what's their plan. You're not hearing any of this because they're running around like chickens with their heads cut off. They're getting overwhelmed. They're getting buried because he's accomplishing, or like he likes to say, winning. And they just don't know what to do, so they're just going to play this discredit game. And I'm almost certain that everybody's starting to catch up on this and be they're tired of it.
Oh, yeah. No, so I agree.
I don't know, but if Obama would have appointed Gina Haspel, there'd be no talk about it.
No, of course.
Hillary would be up there saying, "Oh yeah, we
support her 100%. She's good enough for me, and she's good enough for all of you."
If we do an investigation on Hillary, I bet we find out she's done a whole lot worse than approving waterboarding.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Deaths. I mean, waterboarding you don't die from unless they do it too long, but. There's some people that have not been investigated yet that's done a whole lot worse than waterboarding.
Well, like you said, Hillary, I don't know about McCain. He was against the waterboarding, but how did he vote in the Iraq war to go for it? He was a member of Congress then. Mm-hmm. Hillary was. And then everyone's like, well, Trump went on the Howard Stern show, and he said he supported it too.
Yeah.
Well, that's just talking.
Right.
2 weeks later or so, I think he went on to another show. And if people are allowed to change their minds, like half of Hillary, McCain, everyone else is, and everyone supports that because people can change their minds. Trump 2 weeks later went on to an actual news show, not Howard Stern, and said he had looked into it a little more. And actually don't. He didn't. Right. He didn't.
He changed his mind.
He changed, but 2 weeks later, before I think it even started the war, or the war might have just started. So
he was duped.
But he's just a citizen getting the news and made his thing on a quick heartbeat show, and then looked into it and came back with a better, like, well, and now that I looked into it, oh my God, you had so many more reasons, and no, I don't. But Hillary went down and cast her vote in favor of. Yeah. I'm pretty sure McCain went down and cast his favor in favor of the war. So
I believe
weapons of mass destruction.
I believe there was only 1% that there was like 4 people that voted against it. Because at that time the towers came down and the American people were looking for, we're going to go strike somebody, and then
that was our Pearl Harbor.
Yeah. No kidding.
So just like Pearl Harbor, folks, we, you know, 1 million people or half the country, 80%, 70 some percent was against going to, I think it was a high 80s, against going to war, sending our people off. We just got out of World War I, and people still remembered that. But after Pearl Harbor,
they needed a spark.
1 million men went and signed up the day after, within, you know, a couple weeks.
And Congress and senators went running to FDR and said, now we can go to war.
Yeah, we got the people backing it. 1 million men just signed up. They're ready to go.
I'm not discrediting the bombing of Pearl Harbor.
No, that happened.
But
do we know? Do we have a little bit of advanced knowledge? Lots of history says at this point. Disclosed things and...
All I can tell you is enough people have done enough bad things to be throwing Gina Haspel through the coals right now, raking her over the coals, I guess is the saying. It's just, why? Why are we doing that? They are fighting every appointee. Somebody asked me the other day, well, how fair is he being by putting minorities and women in office? Well, he hasn't even filled his freaking cabinet yet, or all of his positions yet, because every time he appoints somebody, it takes 2 or 3 weeks, and there's all this bashing. So the hypocrisy is alive and well.
Oh, it is. I wanted to take a minute on a side note, talk about Q for a second. Lots of people jumping ship. We have been very clear since we started here. Our Patriot Hour show was thought about before the Q phenomenon even started. This has been in the works for several years. Me and Scott have been talking about it. I've been gathering the gear. It took a couple years to get it all together. But anyway, we said the Patriot Hour show, weekly show, if we could do it more, we would. But it'd always be about current events, things like we're talking about now, issues in the media,
right.
Whether it's mainstream, kind of made up or not, we'll do our best to dig through. And
this is the talk show, and then you do the Q. And I know
well, and... Like I said, once the queue's over, I don't not do updates anymore. My updates will maybe go on to something else that's a huge phenomenon or whether it's just breaking news. That was always my thing. I would try to keep the updates going. That way it's not just a once a week podcast, which would always be, but sometimes we've gotten in 2 in a week. So we'll continue possibly. I'm probably going to continue reading the queue because we're going to go to the end. Whether it's been a big psyop, no different than the news, or if it ends up being military intelligence. I had said this early on. I didn't care. We find it interesting what's being leaked, the pictures, the articles, the way it makes us go and research. It's where they send you to sometimes on the links. It's no different than the Hill or something. So are they saying certain words and then showing you actual articles that you could read anyway, or normal news channel will lead you to?
Right. What do we always? I always ask you, worst case scenario, and here's what I can say. Worst case scenario is if Q is debunked or whatever. There's a lot of good that came from it because what it teaches us to do research, read. Nothing bad happened from the Q. And by the way, I'm not ready to jump ship. I know you're not.
No.
Because this could easily be some kind of a ploy or a backdoor.
Then Q's warning about it, that it was going to, but some people are saying these last few ones, it might have been hijacked or taken over again. It happened early on. We kind of know that back in December for a week. It got compromised. Is it compromised again? I don't know. The only thing I'm seeing is that Q came out with some posts degrading the bakers, all the people involved with the Q, for some people profiting, taking it narrative, holding things hostage videos.
Yeah.
And we're not doing that. So certain people, I don't like how he's talking about some of us, so I'm done with him. That's their reason. And I don't think it's him anymore. They might spit that out to make their followers or subscribers feel a little better about so they're completely done. They don't want to read it anymore even.
Those are the ones that weren't sold to begin with then. Jump ship when it's obvious, but right now, listen, it's still forcing us to do research. There's still a lot of good coming from this. Everything's still
We're still going to read them, folks. I'm pretty sure, regardless. I mean, unless, like you said, literally the people come out this is a great game. And some people are starting to relate it to the Cicada 3301. I mean, and that is a hell of an intelligent game that goes on the internet. Most people would not be able to follow it. It's a cutthroat game of hackers getting to websites first, getting codes, and then the website shut down after 10 people get there. Hundreds of other people are now not even involved in the next phase.
Yeah.
So it's a true thing, and people get picked up. We found that those are CIA protocol tools that they put out, and at the end, your email comes in finding out that you beat this game and you played it, and now you're going to get recruited, and they need somebody like you. I'm not saying that that's what the Q thing is by any means, but people have tried to relate it to that. It's a next level of the Cicada games, and who knows? But we do know that it's been predictive. Things have actually,
It just happened the other day with the three. We asked, well, what are those 3 buildings in Singapore? Blah blah blah. And then the very next day, they said that's where the meeting between North Korea, South Korea, and President.
So the people jumping out even claim that we know it's kind of good because blah blah blah. They've seen that themselves. The predictiveness. For some reason, they think they're being duped. I don't get how, because like you look at something you never would have saw it, buildings. Next day, it's all over the news. You're like, oh my God, I know a little bit about this.
Right. So
you're being fooled, man.
You feel fooled or duped because you did some research and learned some stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of it that's still credited because it's true or it's factual or
people are like it's distracting you, man. From what? From watching CNN and getting your head filled up with that. I mean, what do you guys think? Are you better listening to the Q, hearing them read to you, and then the articles they go to? We don't give a whole bunch of spin on our channel, but I think this is what Q's saying right here.
Right.
That other channels do that. People are trying to push us into that. Like, give us more of what you think. Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at it. I'm baffled. Sometimes it comes to me. Sometimes it doesn't.
We see the same stuff everybody else is seeing, so we can make educated opinions. But I wouldn't even be able to make an educated opinion on a lot of this stuff that we've seen or learned from the Q if I never saw it.
Yeah.
And Q never told any of us pick up guns and go and kill people. I mean, it's not like we're being ordered to do anything.
Yeah.
He's just, or he, she, it is giving us an opportunity to look at keywords or key places or pictures and just do some research.
People are like, do you ever think there would have been somebody close to Trump or in Trump's closer circle that would be giving us classified info? It's like, well, we know it's not classified. It's almost like somebody that has access, but then divulges it in a way for us to go find organically and naturally by looking around. So that's not breaking the law.
Oh my God, if Q made people learn how to do research and get informed.
Worst case, you're a little more informed. You probably are reading a little better, like me. I've gotten better speaking for this whole thing we're doing anyway. So it's benefited me in 6 ways from Sunday.
Yeah.
If it's one bad aspect, everything was just a little off and wrong. So you were duped. It tricked you. Well, that's no different than watching CNN, MSNBC, reading these articles because I thought it was all a big game, folks, anyway. So,
and the great thing is it put thousands of us together to learn off of, and the comments huge. They suggest things, and we go and read up on them or look. It's got people communicating.
It's beneficial.
We're not alone. We don't feel alone. If
more positive than negative. I would imagine.
Worst case scenario, we all got a little smarter. We met some new people.
Learned how to research better.
Yeah, we learned that we're a group.
Yes.
You and I have been sitting there just pounding our heads for a couple of years going, man, we got to just find, this is our platform, but it's our platform to reach out so we can learn as well. It isn't just, hey, tune in to Mike and Scott and we're going to just fill your head full. No.
And
we want feedback.
Exactly. So that's our stand on it, folks. I and Scott, we'll probably we're going to do exactly what we're doing. I will keep, I got comments yesterday. This guy won't admit that Q's been compromised. That was one of I was like, how do I know? How do you know?
How does he know?
Because I just watched Alex Jones. He told me that it's Alex is done with the Q. Most of all the channels that even when I first got into this would look at to see, this is interesting how they're doing it.
Yeah.
As of yesterday, people have backed out.
They're not done.
They're like, I'm not going to read them anymore. And then they went on to say how they still kind of believe it, this and that, but they really think these last few Q posts are getting really negative, really talking about them. And I think it's just hitting their agendas that they have.
Maybe they're trying to filter out the weak ones.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I'm not going nowhere.
Nope. We'll read them, folks. Doesn't mean that, everyone has to believe it 100%. I still take it to be valuable information that needs to be read when it is done, when they expose who it was, When it's all over, then we won't. And my updates will be based on whatever other updates are available. To me, this is some news. It is happening, regardless of whether it's fake or not. There's posts being posted, and I'm reading them. That's very simple. It's too easy.
It's exactly what they do on mainstream media. So
yep,
anyway.
we'll follow it to the end since everyone else is jumping off. I'm sure you guys still want to know, but hey, maybe one day it'll come out. Hey, this was off. You know, maybe it was Jimmy Kimmel the whole time. I mean, who knows? I would hate to think that.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm excited to look at some of the footage and some of the speeches from Jerusalem. I'm going to be looking at some of that this afternoon. Pay attention to the Iran situation. The leader of Iran has said, I really believe Hillary and Obama and Kerry are against it, because now the leader of Iran is saying if Trump pulls out, there's a strong possibility that there's going to be some backlash as far as, hey, we were promised this and we know this on the last administration, you're breaking the promises. So there's some things going on. He's pretty ballsy. His one speech he gave the other day almost implicates Hillary, Obama, and Kerry. They promised this, and we got dirt on them. So it's going to be stay tuned to Iran's situation. And again, I would check out the embassy situation in Jerusalem. Trump saved $1 billion on that project. So,
well, I'm thinking the same. I'm thinking that we only backed out of this little pact that they had with Iran and what they were part of. You had all these other countries racing to the White House, one after another, basically banging on the door, coming in, pleading with Trump, whoever, please stay in it, please stay in it. And, nope, we're done. We backed out of it. Now it gives us a chance to renegotiate on a different playing field. These Q brought it up yesterday. I actually went over it, that they look into all the companies. That's the next little thing they told us to do. And look at all the companies that started jumping in,
benefiting,
making deals pre anything. And now the EU they got a lot of things going on over there, and they're like, is this going to hurt us that the US is backing out now? And that's why they're begging and pleading, because they already got deals made to mine, to go offshore and start doing this, and into the resources into the country, right?
Do you want to do business with the United States, or do you want to do business with Iran?
Yeah.
What's going on here? Where the deal was bad anyway. They got $1.8 billion in cash. Again, I asked the other day where'd it come from.
And they put four. It came through 4 airplanes.
Yeah. So there's a lot of weird things going on with the original deal. I'm not against Trump at all. Actually, I'm all for him pulling us back out of that deal. It seems like every other deal he's getting us in or tearing up and starting over turns out pretty good. But the guy from Iran, I listened to his speech. I wish I could repeat it. I don't have a photo memory or whatever. I couldn't remember everything that he said, but I'm going to rewatch it. He's basically referring to or leading you to believe that he's got dirt on some players, and backing out of this deal was probably the wrong thing to do for those players.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to be watching. I don't think Iran is a punk. I think they're a pretty big force. And I don't think they're just going to bend.
No.
So it'll be...
Real quick on this one, I don't think on the 12th we didn't do one, did we? Was that Friday? 13?
I think...
No, that was 12. That was Saturday. That was Saturday. So yeah, I did read this one, but just real quick, 1345, folks. It was never about worldwide safety and security. It was never about nuclear disarmament. It was about opening a new untapped market. It was about securing a black site, the exchange, Uranium One, risk the welfare of the world. Why? Money. Organized plan by Wild Bill Clinton and Hillary Rodham Clinton, carried out by Hussein. Remember, HRC ran against Hussein. U1 donations to the Clinton Foundation, $1.7 billion in cash transfer to Iran, 4 different routes, 5 planes. Did the total withdrawal actually depart the European Union? Why the European Union? Define bribe, define kickback, special interest groups, SIG. What U.S. COs immediately closed large deals in Iran post the other deal that they had, that one that Obama made, right?
Weird.
Here's an article. Cross-check companies against political and foundation payments. Define bribe, define kickback. Why are people panicking about the Iran deal pullout? They never thought she would lose.
Sounds like there were a lot of deals, and now you got Uncle Joe and the mafia being Iran going, hey, you didn't fulfill your end of the bargain, so
oh yeah, that's going on.
Yeah, so now what's the consequences? If Iran's got dirt on some of these players that already should be under investigation for the DNC and the election crap, maybe Trump is pulling this card so Iran comes out and says, this is the dirt we get. They don't have anything on Trump. He wasn't in office. He didn't make this deal. What's in the deal?
That's why I'm so mad, dude. That's why this is crazy.
Why is this pissing people off so bad? We gave him $1.8 billion. You know what that could have done for Maxine Waters' district?
Well, normal people that we engage with aren't staring at this stuff, aren't doing the really deep research connections that this just kind of tells you. They're only watching the channel they watch. And most people don't, even like us, maybe flip between a few. They only have the one. And what story do they get?
Well, nobody on mainstream media is continuing to talk about this.
No.
I mean, they'll pick up a little bits and pieces, but what Q's doing is keeping it right in front of your face and hoping there's got to be an end game to this. But gosh, like I said, pay attention to Iran, because I really hope they got dirt on these people, and I think that's what they're trying to say. So
let's close this up. You got any final thoughts? We're about the 45-minute mark in.
No, I'm done. Just Iran and watch the embassy there in Jerusalem. I think that'd be a cool little watch. So until next time, protect those rights. Yep,
and do your research, folks. Like we said, don't take what Q or us or anyone. We read it. It gives you a direction, a path. You can't be wrong at the end of that. You're going to stand being a better reader, better listener, better investigator. Get your research. Can't be wrong in that. That's huge. So we're here. Mike, Scott, Patriot Hour, God bless, Godspeed, great afternoon. We'll see you here for the next update real soon. God bless. See you later.